Hey everyone, this is Attorney Felipe bringing you good news about immigration. And so we're getting a lot of questions about the recent Supreme Court case and what that means for immigrants. And so it's a good decision. Yes, the Supreme Court is conservative, and yes, they've issued some decisions we don't like very much, but sometimes they've surprised us on the way. And in an 8-1 decision, in other words, 8 justices sided for us, the immigrants, and there was only one against the decision. They ruled in a positive way. And so here's what it was. Here's how the case started. So originally, the Biden administration, when they took over, they said, you know what, we're going to prioritize deporting people who are dangerous, or people who have been previously ordered removed, or people who are a threat to the nation, criminal records, etc. And so they wrote this big memo, and they said we're going to prioritize removing those people. And so what does that mean for somebody arrested, driving without a license, or somebody picked up at some raid in a factory? What that means for them is that immigration, as they follow that memo and that new policy, they're going to say, we're not going to prioritize this, so we'll either dismiss the case or they'll do what's called administrative closure, which they'll kind of put it away. And it allows a person to kind of be in limbo but remain in the country. And in some cases, you can even get a work permit if you apply for some kind of relief in immigration court. So that was a great policy. It's a good allocation of resources because we don't have that many ICE officers, and they couldn't possibly deport 11 million people even if they wanted to. And so the issue is we have to use our resources carefully, and we're going to prioritize those that really need to be removed, those that are a threat to society, or who the immigration judges have already ruled that you need to be removed, etc. Great, so it was a good policy, but it was immediately challenged by Louisiana and Texas, saying, hey, this is a danger to our society, and you need to remove everybody, any illegal you get your hands on. And the argument, was the federal government is the one that's responsible for making those kinds of decisions. ICE, Department of Homeland Security, it's a federal agency. It's not a state agency. And so state, you take care of your laws, and the feds will take care of ours. And the case wound up going all the way to the Supreme Court. And like I said, in an 8-1 decision, the Supreme Court sided on the side of immigrants. It sided, in this case, with the Biden administration, saying that the federal government, in this case the Biden administration, they have the authority to decide how they're going to enforce immigration law. Now, if you have a more conservative president and a conservative administration, this could, be used by them as well. But the argument is the same. It's the federal government that has the authority to dictate how they're going to use their resources and who they're going to deport. They don't have enough officers, and so they have to prioritize. In this case, they're going to prioritize people with certain criminal records, people who are a threat to society, or people who already have a deportation order but never left the country. And so what does this mean for people? And I know lately people have been really scared of the law in Florida, and people have been leaving the state of Florida. So let me remind you that the law in Florida only applies to people who are here completely undocumented. They have no papers. They don't have any pending applications. They're not here on a tourist visa, they're not here on a student visa, on a worker's visa. They have no papers. They have nothing pending. And so that's who the Florida law applies to, okay? So what does it mean to, for those people, as well as people throughout the country who find themselves in the vulnerable situation of being undocumented? First, you should probably try and change that. Consult an attorney. I know maybe you did it years ago and they told you nothing could be done, but we're very creative and we're very aggressive. Give us a call and see if there's anything we can do for you. But in the absence of that, what does the Supreme Court decision mean for people who are completely undocumented? It means if you're not a criminal, okay, if you don't have a criminal record, sorry for the label, if you don't have a criminal record, if you're not a threat to society, and if you don't have a deportation order, you never went to court, the judge never found you guilty of committing immigration violations and found you not eligible for any kind of immigration relief. If you're not a criminal, if you're not a threat to society, and if you don't have a deportation order, you are a very low priority on immigration's radar. And now, finally, with the Supreme Court's blessing, the federal government can do its job the way it wants to do its job, which means to prioritize people not in your situation. So if you get pulled over according to the law in Florida or any other part of the country and you're undocumented, still respect your rights, remain silent. Don't give the government the ammunition they need to deport you. But should you be placed in removal proceedings, your immigration attorney will be able to use this. Well, it's not a new memo. It's been around for years now, but it's most of its time it's been in limbo because it's been challenged by Texas and Louisiana. What a waste of time. But anyway, now it's finally active again. And so now we can use it to terminate your case. So again, if you don't have a criminal record, you don't have a deportation order, you're not a terrorist, you're not a threat to the country, we can now finally start using this memo to argue that you should not be in removal proceedings. And what will happen is either the government will ask the judge to terminate proceedings, which is amazing, or they might